This presentation, titled Remote Audits and Food Safety in the COVID-19 Era, comes to us from Jorge Bravo. Since 2002, Jorge has participated as a delegate to ISO TC 176, ISO TC 207, ISO COSCO, and STTF, representing Chile, or ISO liaison bodies. He is a training provider, evaluator for Exemplar Global for Latin America. Jorge teaches management system programs at the graduate level at several universities in Latin America and is a renowned international speaker and international consultant. He is a lead auditor in ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 22000, ISO 37001, and ISO 45001, as well as director of Interqualis Limited in Chile. He has completed more than 1,000 hours of training for professionals and some 100 management system audits. And with that, take it away, Jorge.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Welcome to this presentation, Remote Audit and Food Safety in COVID-19 Era. My name is Jorge Bravo. I have been actively involved in several ISO committees since 2002. I have been working in a management system consultant in different disciplines and countries, and I am training provider evaluator for Exemplar Global for Latin American clients. In a previous presentation for Exemplar Global event 2019, I talked about cross-sectional risk auditing for combined management systems. At the Exemplar Global event in February 2020, I spoke about the transversal audits of risks in food safety management systems. And then in March 2020, everything got complicated in the world. Things changed. I will call this time the COVID era. Considering the new challenges of the COVID era, I will discuss the usefulness of current standard and how to audit management systems already implemented in companies that are currently under great stress due to the pandemic, especially in the food industry. In this presentation, I will focus on audit food safety management system in the COVID era. Certainly, some elements can be extrapolated to other management systems that you already know. Things have changed. We must adapt. The feelings of risk changes, some process changes, other processes disappeared, behavior also changes, and the strategy of the organization changes as well. Response time changes too. The way of communication with customers, suppliers, banks, and other stakeholders in the supply chain changes. We also start to get used to unusual situation. For example, the TV show Dancing with Stars in Austria, a small country in Europe. The show was televised from March to December 2020 in a normal way. The only difference was that was no live audience. The audience that were otherwise sit in the ballroom, watched the program for their own homes and their images, and applauses were transmitted on a mega screen. The show go on. The food industry distribution processes and consumer behavior must adapt to changes times. Today, we must understand that they cannot use ISO standard. For example, ISO 22000 in the same way as always, pre-pandemic. Today, the audit of the canning company will it be done in the usual way? By the way, no. In this presentation, we will talk about the remote audit. We will pay attention to the risks of the remote auditing and the behavior of people in this new time that some call the new normal. When the pandemic was recognized as a global problem, I put this note in my LinkedIn. Don't wait for things to return to how they were before. That will not happen. Topic, this presentation. In the plane before a drop in pressures, first you must put your respirator and then you can help other people. The presentation follow this order: reinvention of companies, reinvention of the audit remote, and conclusion. In the COVID era, food industry must first put on the mask, breathe well, and then help others. When I talk about the masks, I mean that company must first ensure their production in the COVID era and then deliver this product to consumers. In this sense, production, leadership, integrity, and auditing are in the same equation. We are already 1 year into the pandemic, and I think we know with little about the behavior of the virus. We are vulnerable. Today, we are very vulnerable. We live in a VUCA world. V, standard to vulnerable. U, for uncertainty. C, for complexity. A, for ambiguity. Can food become contaminated if it is handled by infected people with COVID-19? Probably, yes. So it's better to have auditable hygiene protocols in the company. But how to audit production if we order quarantine? The current solution is remote auditing. But that the 100% remote audit guarantee to obtaining or reliable information about the performance of the processes of the food industry in the COVID era? We must learn more. In this case, mixed audits can be useful, but it cannot always be done. In the COVID era, many companies reinvented themselves. They are thinking outside the box, and change in the consumer habits have been detected. It is important to think outside the box, that is, to put aside belief and models of the past and rather to look at the present and look ahead. In the COVID era in Latin America and other parts of the world, companies produce with few people and a controlled way, and their company value and move towards service, towards the distributions. Auditor must also think outside the box, audit it, and look for new ways to support improving the performance of food companies. We know that for an entrepreneur, it is logical to analyze the situation that can cause some negative alteration in the process and in their operation, and that they should enact in a preventive way. It is safe to say that an entrepreneur analyzes the risks in the company and acts. Even so, they may be unfamiliar with the actual technical definition of risk as given in ISO 31000. In the COVID area, without analyzing the risks, an organization will most likely not exist for long. It is necessary to perform the audit of the risks perceived by top management, in particular, the potential effect on the consumer. In the COVID area, what happened to the internal auditing methods? What happened to the external audit methods? Did they change? Are both audits the same or different under COVID effect? In the COVID area, as the definition of auditing changed from ISO 9011? No. Did the audit program change? Probably. Did the audit planning change? Yes. Now we are going to talk about the reinvention of auditing. The important aspects to consider are, in the COVID area, the context are variable in the different food industries and can move risks from one place to another, and new risks can also be generated. Therefore, planning the audit is key. We can do remote and mixed audit that will be decided in each case, but in all cases, risk analysis of the audits must be done as indicated by the ISO 19011 standard. Who has enough experience in remote auditing? Few people, right? In the COVID area, we must learn fast, really. New risks or no compliance with health law appeared of the COVID area. Let's investigate. Regarding the input information from previous audits, are the performance evaluation from before 2020 and early useful? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. In the COVID area, the audit must be more flexible than usual. You can see in this slide, as we have seen, not all auditors are in the best position to conduct a remote audit. That should be considered in the program, audit program. In the COVID area, what should be considered in an audit? Number one, audit at two levels, organizational and operational. You could ask if the risk matrix was updated under this new normal. Are there COVID-19 protocols in the company, in your company? The information can be shared on a web portal and with access to the auditors and auditors. It is also necessary to evaluate the risks associated with the protection of information during auditing. Here, the company can be supported by protocol derived from ISO 27001 standard, the ISO. Number two, assess food safety, the product, HACCP plans, the traditional in the process, either remotely or mixed. Number three, strategic direction. During the audit, assess the effectiveness of risk management and its effects on the reputation, integrity, and image of the organization. So important today. The audit objectives must be aligned to the strategic direction of the organization. The audit in the COVID era should consider the formula 4M+P. Materials. Use the right materials. In particular, for remote audit, you need to have the right equipment. For example, microphones, camera, access to document information, methods. Adapt the method to the reality of company. Is remote auditing feasible? Is it desirable? Is it accepted by the interested party? Machines use suitable equipment, computer internet connection, for example. Money invested in training, equipment, and materials. People moving towards obtaining new skills, always. Conclusions. In the COVID area, the audit must consider the current context of food organization and their system. The auditor must carry out a risk study of the audit, remote, face-to-face, and or mixed. The audit should consider the fears that auditors have today: COVID, job instability, business continuity. The top management of the company must make ready for efforts in the leadership and protection of the brand, today brand integrity. In these difficult times for humanity, auditors should act as support to management and not as internal policy or external inspector. Our recommendation for the audit of food company in the COVID era. A, audit the system transversally. The FSMS auditor is expected to perform a cross-sectional and contextual audit, considering also the relation of the FSMS with other management systems, products, and processes, the involvement of people and the analysis of results, and the FSMS effectiveness. Audit compliance with applicable legal and regulatory requirements. Audit from the perspective of the potential effects of non-compliance, reputation, image, and business continuity. In the COVID area, it is very important to be flexible with the audit program. In the COVID area, the audit must support even more strongly the improvement of the company performance to guarantee the safety of the product, the safety of the workers, the safety of the consumers, and the reputation of company. And the message for all those attending this event: continue to gather experience. For all of us, this situation is new. Finally, I leave you links of the International Accreditation Forum. Look at the slide, webpage, and the ISO Audit Practices Group. There you will find more information about the remote auditing and auditing techniques. To finish with a message: be positive and stay negative. Thanks for watching and listening. On LinkedIn, you can find me with my name, Jorge Bravo Carreño, in Spanish. Hasta pronto. See you soon. In Deutsch is tschüss. Information of the enterprise Exemplar Global for you. Thank you for watching.
And thank you, Jorge Bravo, for that look at how the pandemic has affected auditing within the food industry. And that concludes this presentation.